Hey everybody and welcome back. I want to talk about Greenland and how it pertains to the potential future for us Canadians here in Canada. So everybody knows Greenland has been in the news lately with Venezuela, how the U.S. wants to annex them.
How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S. takeover?
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland. And we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay?
Claims resources are beneficial to security, and the proximity to the U.S. is also for security reasons, because if China or Russia took over, Trump says he doesn't want them to be the neighbors, even though Russia's a neighbor of the U.S. as it is, right next to Alaska. So his talking points when he kidnapped Maduro was drugs and talks about oil. Greenland talks about proximity for China and Russia taking over, it would be too close to the U.S., and resources. Similar talking points to what he says about us Canadians. Oil, drugs, and he hasn't said it yet, but he'll eventually start talking about proximity to the U.S. We're neighbors. We're attached to them. We're connected. Eventually, he's going to talk about how he needs to have control of Canada, because if Russia or China takes over, they'll be at the doorstep of the U.S. Oil, talks about Alberta all the time. Resources, all the time. Drugs, when he first got into power in 2025, talked about all the fentanyl that was coming over the border, that was killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. And the reason why he was putting the tariffs was because of the drugs. Same talking points. He was laying the foundation for a reason to annex potentially Canada. I know a lot of you Canadians out there say, no, he'll never do it. No, the American people won't allow it. And I somewhat agree on the latter, where the American people won't allow it. But they've got their own problems right now. The issues with ICE. They're protesting. They're fighting back. In terms of Canadians, I don't know if we're on their radar right now because they have their own issues. But that's not my real concern of if and when Donald Trump will start targeting Canada. My concern is how many Canadians will be happy about it. You're probably going, oh, Romulo, why would Canadians be happy about being taken over? Many reasons. You've got a lot of Canadians, I call them Maple MAGA. Not all of them, but the hardcore ones. You got the ones, I can't remember the group out in Alberta. We're talking about succession. They're already talking about leaving Canada so they can get their oil to markets, that they're being mistreated by Ottawa. So they already have a grievance with Ottawa. So they would trade one master for another. Taxes. How many Canadians talk about how the American tax system is much better than Canadians? How they would love to live in a country that pays little to no tax so they can keep more of it and spend it on what they want. Even though they haven't done their own research to know that those states in the U.S. that pay little to no tax have the worst education, infrastructure, the highest poverty. Their GDP, if you want to say, is non-existent. How many people blame the immigration issue on the Liberal government? How there was too many immigrants causing problems with inflation, housing costs, and everything else. How many Canadians are happy with what ICE is doing in the U.S. and getting rid of all those illegal immigration? So that would be my real concern. Not that when and if Donald Trump would start setting his targets and eyes on Canada, but how many Canadians would be okay with that? Traitors in my mind. But a lot of people are misinformed, they've fallen for fake news, or they're not plugged in to the everyday politics and what Donald Trump has done to the US and destroyed that country. They think the tariffs, those Canadians who would be okay with it, think Donald Trump has also done a good job with the tariffs. How he's brought back manufacturing, made America strong again, where none of that is true and none of that has happened. They don't know anything about Donald Trump's corruption, Trump coin, giving favors for other world leaders because they bought the Trump coin, pardoning the ex-Honduras government, or president, sorry, not government, ex-Honduras president who smuggled 400 tons of cocaine into the U.S., yet they think Trump has done a great job in terms of the fentanyl and addiction and drug trafficking into the U.S. And how many Pierre Poilievre followers would be okay with this? Because they would believe that Trump would put Pierre Poilievre as the governor of Canada and allow him to make Canada great again. I had a conversation with somebody about this, and they didn't think this was going to be possible, but when I brought up some of these points, started to think. Couldn't tell me there would be a definite no, that no Canadians would be okay with the U.S. taking over and annexing Canada as the 51st state. This is not good. We had a neighbor, great relationship, the U.S. I have family in the U.S. that technically there's a good possibility, especially with the way Trump is talking about, that the U.S. could be enemies. That I would live to see this day. I know there's a lot of Americans out there that would fight alongside us Canadians, but it's too bad that there would also be Canadians that would fight against their own brothers and sisters here in Canada for the states to come over and take over. So let me know. I'm curious. My question is, do you have the same feeling as me that there's will be a lot of Canadians out there that would be okay with this? Or do you think we would unite? Just like how we united when Trump talked about annexing us in the first place. And we, the slogan, elbows up. Again, another example. A lot of conservatives out there that made fun of the elbows up slogan. How we were united as a country against Trump trying to take over, talking about taking over Canada as a 51st state. And you had conservatives making fun of elbows up. It doesn't look good. My question is not if there will be Canadians that would support it. My question to you, please leave a comment, is what portion of the population would be okay that the United States came and took control? Anyways, guys, take care. We'll talk later.